Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. This story I got for you today is all about Black America, Detroit, General Motors, and Cadillac. And what do all four of these elements encapsulate and how are they intertwined? And the true question about this story and controversy: did Black America save Cadillac during the Great Depression in 1934? Why did Black America want Cadillacs? For Black Americans with money, Cadillac represented something far deeper than transportation. With home ownership and club membership often denied to them, a high-end car became one of the few visible, undeniable markers of success. Owning a Cadillac was about claiming access to an elite brand that didn't want them or didn't want us, but couldn't survive without them or us. Talking about Black America. Denied car loans and bank credit, Blacks paid in full up front, making them high margin, low risk customers for General Motors and Cadillac. Many also saved communally through Black fraternal organizations, church networks, and labor unions. Black economic exclusion did not help Cadillac and General Motors, but Black economic inclusion did revive Cadillac. Black America, know your economic power. Let that speak volumes. Your wallet can make a difference. So let's get into the story on did Black America save the Cadillac brand during the Great Depression? A popular story claims that Black Americans saved the Cadillac car brand during the Great Depression. According to this tale, Cadillac General Motors luxury division was on the brink of collapse when a forward-thinking manager noticed that many wealthy African Americans were purchasing Cadillacs through white intermediaries. At the time, Cadillac enforced a no sales to Negroes policy. The manager reportedly persuaded GM executives to lift the ban and market directly to African Americans. With little to lose, the executives agreed. And by 1934, Cadillac sales had allegedly risen 70%, going up. The story continues that Black Americans were able to buy Cadillacs during the Depression because they were less affected by the financial crash than white Americans. After all, many African Americans had savings kept at their home rather than in the failing banks. This combination of factors saved Cadillac and established a loyal customer base that endures to this day. So the facts behind the story: there was indeed a Cadillac manager who proposed selling cars directly to African Americans, and his name was Nicholas Drestad. In the early 1930s, Drestad noticed that many affluent Black customers were bringing Cadillacs into the dealerships for service, despite the company's ban on direct sales to Black buyers. He discovered that many of these buyers were paying white men several $100s to act as front men in their car purchases for Cadillacs. In 1932, Drestad presented his findings to GM executives. He argued that if African Americans were willing to pay an extra to own Cadillacs, then the company should profit directly by removing its discretionary sales policy. As Drestad reportedly told them, why should a bunch of white front men get several $100s each when that profit could flow straight to General Motors? The executives at General Motors accepted his proposal, and by 1934, Cadillac sales had risen up to about 70%. The brand had broken even, and Drestad was promoted to the head of the division. And then what about some other factors behind Cadillac's turnaround? While ending the racist sales policy was an important step, It was not the sole reason for Cadillac's revival. Dreystadt also implemented significant production reforms that reduced manufacturing costs while maintaining quality. Within 3 years, Cadillac's pre-unit production costs matched those of GM's lower-end Chevrolet models. Additionally, Cadillac's recovery occurred during a broader industry-wide rebound that spanned from 1933 to 1937. All U.S. automakers experienced increased production during this period, suggesting that Cadillac's resurgence was part of a general economic recovery or boom rather than the solely result of new sales to African Americans. So what about them marketing to Black America? Although Cadillac lifted its sales ban, there's little evidence that the company actively marketed to African American consumers in the 1930s. A review of major Black newspapers, including the Pittsburgh Courier, the Afro-American, and the Chicago Defender, found no Cadillac advertisements in new cars during that decade, or for new cars during that decade. While used Cadillacs appeared in classified ads, the company itself did not target Black audiences directly. As automotive historian Jim Koss notes, Dreystadt's initiative for ending a racist sales policy in the 1930s apparently did not carry into Cadillac's marketing. The division wanted dealers to stop turning away Black customers, but did little, if anything, to actively attract the Black customer. So what is the myth about Black prosperity during the Depression? Another common claim is that African Americans were less affected by the Great Depression because they avoided white-owned banks. While it's true that many Black Americans distrusted banks, especially after the collapse of the Freedmen's Bank in the late 1800s, there is no evidence that this led to a widespread financial insulation. In fact, African Americans were among the hardest hit during the Depression, facing the highest unemployment rates and systematic discrimination. So in conclusion, there is definitely a partial truth to this whole basis for African Americans or Black people during the Great Depression that helped forge Cadillac sales into a positive surge and help restore General Motors. Nicholas Dreystadt's decision to end Cadillac's racist sales policy was both morally significant and financially beneficial. It opened the brand to a new customer base and acknowledged the economic power of African American consumers. However, this change was only one factor among several others that fueled Cadillac's recovery. The company's revival was also driven by cost-cutting initiatives, broader industry growth, and the nation's slow economic rebound. While affluent Black Americans did contribute to Cadillac's improved sales, it's a slight exaggeration to say that they saved the brand single-handedly. I would venture to say differently. That surge of those Black folks that went and bought and purchased these cars cash and even paid a higher premium, rose their profits and their sales up 70%. You don't always want to say one thing single-handedly did it, but I would say that the Black consumer supporting General Motors and Cadillac definitely was a number one nucleus or indicator to have saved Cadillac, along with other benefactors. The truth lies somewhere in between. Black Americans' purchasing power mattered, and Dreystadt's inclusive policy or inclusion policy was a landmark moment also. But Cadillac's survival was the result of multiple converging factors, not just one of the community's support. Tell me what you think about this story. Did Black America help save Cadillac and General Motors back during the Great Depression of 1934?